Okay, sky replacements. That controversial subject. You either love it or you hate it, or if you're like me, you're somewhere in between. Now, Photoshop, a little while ago, introduced the sky replacement tool, which made it so much easier to do this. Okay, now I know many of you out there are going to scream, oh, this is fake, this is not real photography, this shouldn't be done, and all this kind of stuff. Well, at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. As with regards to it being fake, well, in my view, it's only fake if you fake it. For example, if you replace the sky and you say that this is how it was and this is how you shot it, then it's fake. But if you replace the sky and say, hey, yeah, I replaced the sky in this, that's fine. That's great too. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, whether you want to classify it as photography or not, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. At the end of the day, it's a composite, and you can create a piece of art from it, and as long as you're upfront about what you did, then I see no problem with it myself. If you're somebody who doesn't want to do it, if you don't believe in this, you don't have to do it. You know? At the end of the day, that's neither here nor there. But the fact is, sky replacements are here, and they're so much easier than they ever were. So if you do want to do it, now is the time to do it. If you have Adobe Photoshop, the latest version has the sky replacement tool already built in. So if you go to Edit and you come down here, you will find here, it's grayed out at the moment, but it's a sky replacement. Okay. Now it's grayed out because I haven't got the main image selected on the layer. So now I'll select that. Now we come here. Now the sky replacement tool is available. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this video is show you simply how to use the sky replacement tool, and also show you how. Now, of course, when you use the sky replacement tool, you need a sky to replace it with, obviously. So you need an image of the sky. Now, of course, again, you can take the image yourself. So if you captured a great sky somewhere and you want to blend that with another image, then go for it, no problem at all. Now, if you don't have a great sky, now you have another option. You can buy a sky, essentially. Now, what I'm going to show you today is the sky replacement pack. Now, this was put together by two friends of mine, Luca Esenko and Matthew Brown. Now, they are also co-owners of the PhotoHound website. So I'll put a link to the PhotoHound website down here as well. But they have put together this fantastic sky replacement pack. And within these packs, you've got every image you could possibly want, every kind of sky. You've got auroras, blue hour skies, lovely blue skies, rainbows, dramatic skies, golden hour skies, long exposure, Milky Way, spectacular sunsets, star trails, starry, stormy, stunning sunrises, wispy clouds. You've got everything, every type of sky you could possibly wish for. So you can either buy the individual packs like this, or you can buy the whole pack itself. And then you've got over 750 incredible skies to choose from. Okay, so I'll put a link to this down below. This is my affiliate link, so if you click on this, I will get a small commission, but the price is the same to you. In fact, if you use my special code, you will get a 20% discount. So I'll put the code up here now. The code is replace20, and if you use that code, as I said, you'll get a 20% discount off this sky replacement pack. Whichever pack you decide to buy, you'll get a 20% discount. Okay, so back to our images. Yeah, why would you want to replace the sky? Well, you know, you got a great image, but the sky wasn't that fantastic, so you might want to replace it. And now, as I said, there are multiple reasons why you would want to do it. For me personally, I don't want to replace the sky on a scene where I could possibly get that sky anytime. So to me it would be silly to take an image and think, oh, there's no clouds, I'll do a sky replacement to put some clouds in there. And if I can easily go back to that place and get an image with that great sky, with great clouds, with a great sunset, whatever, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to muck around replacing things. But for me, the one use for the sky replacement tool would be to create a scene that would not be possible in nature. Okay? And one of those examples would be the aurora. Now, again, if I have an image in Iceland, it would be daft to use the sky replacement tool to create an aurora image in Iceland, because I can go to Iceland and get an aurora image. But here in Slovenia, this view here you're looking at now is the view of Triglav, Mount Triglav in the Julian Alps. Mount Triglav is the highest mountain in Slovenia. Okay? Now, it would be safe to say that it would be nigh on impossible to get an aurora image over Triglav. So this is somewhere where I could think that, well, I could use the sky replacement tool to create something that I would never get in real life. Now, again, yes, well, it's fake, yes, it's fake. But first of all, I wouldn't pretend that it's real. I won't say, hey, look what I caught. I caught an aurora over Triglav, because everyone would go, that'd be daft. That's not going to happen. So, you know, of course, I'm going to create something unique, but something that is not real. But then it's a piece of art. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Okay? Now, first of all, let's just get rid of this group and contents. Okay? So, first thing we have to do, we've got our image open. We go up to edit. We come down to the sky replacement. We open. If we go up here, it's defaulting. Photoshop also has a selection of skies which you can use, of course, but I want to use one of the image from the sky replacement pack that I've got. Now there you go. At the moment you open it, Photoshop does its magic and it's replaced my sky immediately. But I don't want that, because I could get that. I could get that in real life. You know, that's nothing original. What I want to do is, so if I click this anchor down here, and if I go down to here, this plus sign, I can now navigate to all of my skies that I've got from the sky replacement tool. And I can select the auroras. So I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to open. There we go. I'm going to select this one first. There we go. Go back to here, and voila. Magic. Instantly it's created my aurora over Mount Triglav. It's that simple. Now we have a few adjustments up here too. Okay, now this one here shifts the edge. So the edge is basically the edge where of the sky, where the sky meets the land. Okay, so if you pull this button up, it moves the border between the land and the sky further down. If you pull it back, it moves it up. So now you can see when I've pulled it back, it's starting to reveal more of my original sky underneath. Okay, so this is useful if it hasn't quite seamlessly blended with the border point between your sky and your land. Okay, but in most cases it does a fairly good job. You can also fade the edges. So here, if we pull this down, for example, to 0, it's actually made it a bit nicer. Put a bit more blue there. Okay, so that's done that. The next one is the sky adjustments. So I can brighten the sky, I can darken the sky, and the temperature. So I can warm up the sky, or I can cool down the sky. So I can cool it down actually to put a bit more blue there in the sky. Scale will increase the size. So basically it's just enlarging my sky image. So I can make features in my sky bigger, or I can make it smaller. But here you see, depending on the size of your original file, if you make it too small, then it's going to be obvious. So, there you go. So now, if I pull this back to what it was originally, if we make it 100%, pull it back, no, too much, I can actually enlarge it a touch. Now I've got this nice bit of the aurora over Mount Triglav itself, so I can, that's quite handy really. If you want to move it, I could simply just click and drag my sky around, quite simply, to position a feature of the sky in the right place. So here I could actually do that now and put that really vivid green bit right over the peak of Triglav. So that's nice. Okay, now flip. We'll flip your image like this, quite simply. Now, down below we've got foreground adjustments. Now what's really great about this tool is it also tries to blend the colours and the colour temperature and everything of the sky into the foreground to try to make it look as natural as possible, if that is actually possible. But it's a great feature. And again, here we can adjust our foreground, so we can brighten. It's not going to show too much on here because I've got quite a dark foreground anyway. So I'll show that on another image in a minute. And finally, output. You can output to a new layer or to a duplicate layer. Okay. So once you've got everything adjusted, everything how you like it, you just simply click OK, and it creates our image. Now here, if you look in the layers palette, you can see all of the layers. So you can turn it off. That's how it was before. And you can turn it back on to see how it is now. Okay, if you want to do any more adjustments, you can do. If you're finally ready to save, you can just simply flatten the image and save it. It's that simple. Okay, now I will delete all of that. We'll go back and open the sky replacement tool again, and this time choose a different image. Okay, this time I'll select this one because that's quite a nice aurora coming down. Now I can flip that first of all to make that seem like it's coming right out of the peak of Triglav. Again, I can shift my edge a bit. There you go. I can make more of that blue down there. That's great. And now let's should we scale it a bit so it's a bit bigger? There we go. That's nice. Now I'll grab it and I'll move it right over the peak of Triglav. Just maybe. Oh, now see, now because I've made it, now I've adjusted the scale down by moving it. The image is now too small, so I'm going to definitely need to adjust that to about 120% scale, and there you go. Now I've got my aurora coming right out of the peak of Triglav. Beautiful. Now I like that. Okay, it's a piece of art. Now it's not real. No, of course it's not real. Yeah, and it's never going to be real. You know, I'm never going to capture an image like that ever in my entire life. It's just not possible. If you're not familiar where Slovenia is right down in southern Europe, right next to Italy. And this view, I'm looking to the north. Yes, no, I'm actually looking to the northwest, and it's highly, I'd say virtually impossible that we would see the aurora from here. I've never seen it, and I don't think anyone ever has here. So that's how you can use the sky replacement tool. Very simple. Now I do another example here. This again is another scene in Slovenia. I got a lovely church. This is Mount Stožić, and I captured it as the moon was just about to rise here. And again, this view is looking northeast, and again we would never see the aurora here, so why not add an aurora image. Now here, maybe I can try this bigger one here. See, that's kind of nice. Got the moon just coming up with the aurora over it. Or again, I could select this one again, come back here, increase the size of it a bit, drag it over the peak. Move it around, there you go. Yeah, that's something different. Something you're unlikely to see. Now, of course, the problem with this when you've got a lot of foreground. Now, if you had a really vivid aurora like this over a scene like this, then it's very likely that there would be some color reflected in the foreground here. And that's where it becomes a little bit tricky. And also doesn't look that great. Now this image, okay, it's got a nice sky and everything, but to me it doesn't look right because that foreground there should have some kind of color reflection in it. Should have some green reflected in it, and it doesn't look right. So now there are things that you can do. There's more Photoshop work and everything that you can do, and if you want to do that, if you have the skills, then go for it. For me, I don't, and I don't really want to bother with something like that. So for me, doing a simple thing like this would be great because there's not much foreground. It's a silhouette anyway, so for me this one works. But for me, this doesn't work. And the same problem also when you have images over water. Now, images over water are going to be even more reflective. So this image of Lake Bled is going to be a good example to show you the kinds of problems that you can have with an image like this where there's water and reflections, and what you can do in this situation. Now, if there's a lot of detail in the original sky, that detail would be reflected in the water, and then it would be much more difficult to actually duplicate that sky replacement in the water. It's not impossible. If you have advanced Photoshop skills, you could probably do it. I don't, and quite frankly I really can't be bothered with it. But when you have an image like this, it's very clear. The water reflection is very clear. So there's a neat little trick that you can use in order to do this. So I'll show you that now. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, of course, is go up to our sky replacement and do the sky replacement first of all. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now I want the aurora over the church, the island church and the castle, so I'm going to flip it first of all, and then I'm going to make it larger. So let's take it up to 150. There we go. Now that's nice. I quite like that. Okay. Now straight away you can see, of course, okay, I've replaced the sky, it's done a perfect job instantly, and it looks great. But it doesn't look natural because, first of all, that sky is not reflected in the water, and second of all, with that amount of vivid green in the sky, that would be reflected on the landscape, on the mountains. It would be reflected on the church itself and the cliffside here. It's all lit, and that color from the sky would also be reflected in all of that light. So this image as it is, it just doesn't look natural. Okay, of course it's not natural, we're faking it, of course we are. But at the end of the day, if we're going to create something like this, then it still has to look right. It has to look it has to look believable, actually. If you were to look at an image like this, You would know it's fake, of course you would, but you still, it doesn't look right. There's the color balance is off for starters. You know, an image's color needs to be balanced across the whole scene, so it just doesn't look right. So if you're going to do something like this, you still need to do more to it. So if we're happy with the sky, I would say first of all let's take down that temperature a bit. Yeah. Let's take down the color temperature of the sky, add more blue to it. There we go. I quite like that. We can brighten it a touch maybe. Yeah, just a touch, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So if our sky is good, we're happy with that, then the next thing we need to do is deal with the foreground. Now remember I said that you can also do some adjustments on the foreground, and what we need to do here, this is really where the color adjustment comes in. So I'm going to whack up the color adjustment on this to 95, and immediately you see a massive difference. It's balanced the color of the foreground with the sky that we've replaced it with. That's a really great thing about this tool. Now it's starting to look more natural. Yeah, the lighting on the church, on the cliffside of the castle hill, is all starting to look green, and overall there's a greener hue across the whole image. So it's starting to look more natural. If there really was an aurora over Bled, this is how it would likely look. But still we're missing the reflection. So okay, let's leave that at 95. I think that's great. So now we want to do the foreground. Now we want to do the reflection in the water actually. So I'm going to OK this. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is go up to Image, Image Rotation, Flip Canvas Vertically. So I'm going to flip the canvas upside down, and I'm going to make the reflection the sky. And hopefully we're going to fool the sky replacement tool in Photoshop into believing that this is the sky. Okay. Now that's where I said if there's a lot of detail there, or there's not really, what you want is a clear distinction between the land and the rest of it. So if there's a clear enough distinction, it will fool Photoshop into believing that this is sky. So by flipping it upside down, we can now go back and go back to our sky replacement tool, open it up again, and there we go. Now because this is blurry, it hasn't done a particularly good job here, but we can make some adjustments for that. But first of all, I don't want it here, just like with the other one. I want to flip it because I want it over the reflection, has to be over the reflection of the church. Now I need to remember what I did here. That's the key bit. Now I need to enlarge that the same as I enlarged, I need to enlarge this one, sorry, the same as I enlarged the previous one. Now I know I did it 150, so I want to do exactly the same there, 150. There we go. Okay, now they match. But because I didn't centralize this image, yeah, we've got more sky than we've got reflection. Okay, so because it's pasted it in, you'll see it's still not quite right. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull this up so I can try to put that in the same position as the sky. Okay, so it's got to match. There we go. So if we look at this curve here, coming out of the mountain peak here, we've got this bit of like really vivid green bit coming out here. Yeah, so this has got to line up. Okay, so we want to line everything up perfectly. There we go. That goes there, that goes there. I think that's about right. Now I want to make this brighter. Now reflections are typically not as bright as the sky itself. This is true in nature. So usually our reflection is a little bit darker, unless we've used a grad filter or something to try to balance out the brightness between the reflection and the sky. But still, typically it's often a little bit darker. So we can increase this a little bit. Let's see how far we can go. Now, So yeah, still not quite as bright, but still brighter, and probably a bit more believable if it's not quite as bright. Again, I can take the temperature down. Yeah, let's try and match the blues here. Okay, now that looks great. Yeah, now we've got a perfect reflection. Now we can check here, see that everything's okay, it's not overlapping, but we can see here that there is some overlap. Can you see this bit of haloing over the mountain peak on the right here? This doesn't look quite right. That's where we can use the shift edge. Okay, there we go. Now if we pull this down a touch, oop. Oop. We can tweak this a bit, see if we can get rid of that halo somewhat. But it's not really, you know, sometimes, there we go. If we do that, but now we've got too much brightness here, we can try the fade edge. Yeah. We can play around with these tools to see if there's something that you can do to improve upon that. But the problem is, because this reflection is not as sharp as the reflection in the sky, Photoshop is not really seeing a well-defined edge. So it's having difficulty. Now if we do that, it takes away the halo, but then it puts a massive halo here and it doesn't look right in my opinion. So what I'm going to do, we can try this, and if it doesn't work, let's put it back to 0. Let's OK this. And now we can just going to use, I'm just going to use the clone tool to get rid of this halo here, because it's only around here that the problem. The rest of it looks great. So if we finished, first of all we want to flip that vertically again to put it back straight, put it back the right way up, sorry. There we go. Now that looks great. Yeah, it looks much more natural. We've got an aurora over the mountains there. We've got it perfectly reflected in the water. We've got the stars and everything. So it's really, really nice, except for this halo here. So it looks almost believable. Now, as I said, this is Lake Bled. We are looking eastward to the Karavanki Mountains, which borders with Austria, northeastward I should say. And it would not be possible, this would never happen. We would never see an aurora over Lake Bled. So it's not something I could ever get myself. So I have no problem doing something like this. You know, it's a bit of fun, it creates a nice image. It's a piece of art. Yeah. So if I'm happy with everything, okay, then I'm going to go layer, flatten the image, and then I'll come down and zoom into this area where I've got the halo and use my clone tool. Okay, set the brush size. You can set the brush size accordingly. You want a soft edge. Okay. Okay. Set soft edge and set my marker. Now I can do it this way. It's easier because this is all very dark. If I tried to do it this way, I'd be cloning stars and things. It would be a bit more difficult. So let's just simply clone the mountain top a bit, just to get rid of that halo, or at least minimize it so it doesn't look so obvious. It's not such a problem that it's blurry, because reflections generally are, especially if this was a long exposure. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Yeah, we can just try a little bit from the other side. No, it's not working. Cloning can be very tricky sometimes. Okay, that doesn't look so bad. And there we have an image of an aurora over Lake Bled. I'll save this. And I'll just add aurora to the title. And there we go. Let's go and open our image of Triglav again and see what other skies we could have there. Okay, let's get rid of those. Let's open up my sky replacement. Let's look at all the other sky options I've got. Okay, now it's a silhouette, so it would be a bit daft to put a blue sky in there. Now if I want, I could choose a lovely sunset, but I could get a sunset over that quite easily. Okay, now again, I've got something like this. We select that. It's not something I would get naturally, so you know, it's a good image to use. Quite like that actually. I think I'll save that one too. Yeah. There we go. Save that. Star trails. Quite simply. Now, open our image again. See what else we can do. Again. There's another aurora with the moon. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's a possibility, but I don't like that one too much, so let's try something else. Let's see what we've got down here. Lots of images to choose from. Wispy blue skies would be daft. Sunset I can capture. Sunset colours I can capture. Why bother doing something like that when you can get it for real? What I want is something that would just not be possible. Rainbow, it would be possible. Very difficult to get, but it would be possible. I've got Milky Way. Dramatic skies. Again, it would all be possible. Well, again, I say that, you know, if you're able to go back and shoot this image time and time again to this location, then the chances of you capturing it are increased. But if you're not near this place, or you don't get to visit it that often, then, well, maybe you can try something like this. But as I say, it's only fake if you pretend that that's how it looked. If you're upfront about what you did, then I personally see no problem with this. Now, there's a possibility. Bit of lightning in the sky at blue hour. But okay, again, the chances of capturing something like this are very, very slim, but it's still possible, of course. So it's not a bad image. I might keep it. But again, it's a composite, so there we go. Let's call that blue hour. Okay. So there we have it. I've got Triglav with an aurora. I've got the star trails. Now, yes, I would get star trails over Triglav, but I would never get this kind, because basically to get this you have to be looking directly north to the North Star, and this view of Triglav is looking west. So again, I would never get an image like this for real. So this is good. And I could get an image like this. It would be extremely difficult. It would require going back to this viewpoint in the right weather, the right conditions, numerous times, and if I was extremely lucky, I could capture something like this. Okay, but there you go. So there are your options. The sky replacement tool in Photoshop, it's super easy to use, and you can use your own skies. The Photoshop gives you also a selection of skies, or as I said, you can go and buy this sky replacement pack, use my affiliate link, use my code replace20 and get a 20% discount off whatever you choose to buy, and you've got a great selection of skies to choose from. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, and check out my other tutorials, and if you did like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.